Good morning, beautiful soul. So I had to do the recording again because something went wrong with the audio. Isn't that interesting? I think it was the headphones, actually. So I wanted to spend the time that I needed to spend to share this because it is important to me. I think I mentioned before that in the family that I have some family members that have experience with schizophrenia and hearing voices. And I have since then dedicated a lot of time to really work in the shamanic part of things to understand that phenomenon and how to help the people with it. Not really understand it because that I think that comes clearly, but how do we best help people that have these issues of hearing the different voices? So this psychotherapist, let's see if I can share. He worked in the medical system, different hospitals, state hospitals for total over 35 years, and he was not able to do a lot of the work that he wanted to do because he was prevented from it. He says that when he was asking the clients, the patients, to talk about and directly interview the voices, that he was not allowed to do so. Once he retired, then he was able to share his journey. So let me just make sure that you guys can. How do I face that? Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay, here we go.
Here. Before I hit record, we were talking about a ton of things. Hopefully we can remember what we were talking about and bring that up. But just so everyone's on board, the reason for the channel is that it's a supplement to my academic career. I was recently awarded my, that way we'll all be on the same page, okay? The title of the paper is The Hidden Predator, Deconstructing the Shadow Side of Reality. And this is the official thesis statement. And then this highlighted portion is where, Jerry, your research and your personal experience actually fits in to the statement. And then when I go through the table of contents, the audience and you are going to see exactly where I inserted and used your information as well. So basically, the paper reveals the subtle predatory ruling intelligence that is embedded within the fabric of our reality and how humanity interacts with it, often with dangerous and even deadly consequences. I'll prove that just becoming aware of the shadow archetype of our reality can be a catalyst for an evolutionary growth process of the mind, ushering humanity into another plateau of awareness. And then I say, when you stand on this other plateau, you go through a paradigm shift and you realize that humans are not at the top of the food chain. And I'm sure that, Jerry, you can agree with that because you say that exact thing on page 140 in your book. And I'll get to that too.
Very true. We are not at the top of the food chain.
So I want to define what we mean by hidden predator. And this is an explanation of what I used in the paper. But then also, Jerry, if you could explain, after I go through this, what is your definition of this hidden predator? Within the paper, I define the hidden predator as an independent, invisible, non-material, non-human, ancient predatory race that shares our planet, lives in a parallel reality, and exhibits a high degree of social.
So this is something that we've been talking about even in the dreams and nightmare psychedelic sacred plant medicine trans-regression training, and in YouTube in general, in the platform, about the ancient races and also parallel realities and what happens when we are in trance, and even just in our subconscious. It's already there. If it's in our subconscious, it's already real, no matter what reality it is or what dimension it is. And how do we do spirit releasement to get rid of these things that are affecting us, especially if we're hearing voices? A lot of the clients don't know that they're hearing voices, and the things that they're doing, they think they do it because it's like natural to them. So let's see.
And psychological agency. We probably won't get into this, but I do go through that there's a hierarchy. They have a defined set of rules of engagement because this reality is very controlled. There has to be checks and balances. When you enter this reality and when you interact with human beings, it has to be under control. That way nothing gets messed up for them because our whole society is set up in a way that it benefits them. And if something's going to enter it, it better not mess up that benefit. Now, the reason why I say that is because it appears they're governed by laws that supersede our human laws. And the reason why I say that is because in the first part of the paper. It's the review of literature is broken into two parts, and you'll see that in a second. But they seem to be able to come and go as they please. They interact with us on their terms, essentially. And not only can they travel between our realities, but they can take us to their reality and bring us back if they want to. Sometimes they don't. And that's definitely not.
That's what we call the alien abductions. And when we are removing the implants and talking to these beings, there is a lot of work that happens in order for us to get control back of our body, mind, and spirit. So
something that I'm aware of. I don't know if Jerry is, but I'm not aware of us being able to teleport or bilocate. That is a very brief description of the hidden.
I do want to make a note about that, because even 200 years ago, even a few hundred years ago, there were people, and there's still some people that can biolocate and do things as she mentioned. It's not in many numbers. It's not a lot of people that can do it, because you have to be pretty evolved to be able to let go and be able to biolocate and time travel and so on. But it is possible for us all to be able to do that with training and the discipline and dedication.
Predator in the paper. So, Jerry, if you want to give your definition from all your years of experience, what is your definition of hidden predator?
Well, the number one fits almost exactly. They are independent. They're invisible. They are non-material. They are of the energetic universe. They're not of the physical universe. And the energetic universe, there is no time, there is no space, and there is no material. There's no.
This is something that we also talk about in the dreams regression training, about the fact that the soul is at a timeless place of reality. What's happening to the soul in many different experiences, which is why past lives become so crucial, is because for the soul, there is no time and space. Time is not linear. So when we are here, we think of time as past, present, and future. But for the soul, who we are at a core, everything is happening all at the same time.
Matter. They dwell in that universe. So they can hit a schizophrenic anywhere at any time, no matter where they go. I mean, they can go, to Antarctica and they can still hit them. Their space and time doesn't matter to them. They are predatory. They can only consume negative emotional energy. They can't make it themselves. So basically what they do to us is like what we do to cows. They set us out, we eat food, we drink milk, we produce emotional energy. For them to take it, they have to turn it negative. And then they take that negative emotional energy and they suck it out of the people. So, schizophrenics will tell you they can feel their energy leaving. They can feel that they're drained after the voices attack them.
They have to make us edible first, because if you're in a good mood, that's not something that's edible.
No.
And so a bad mood. So it's like, I liken it to, we have different species on this planet that eat absolutely appalling and disgusting things, like a vulture. A vulture will sit around and wait for something to rot. That is what it finds palatable. Well, we have to look at this consumption in a different way, because this predator, it's terraforming this environment to get a product. From a business perspective, we are a commodity, and it has to alter us in the way in which it wants to produce this product. It has to make us ferment and be this disgusting putrid thing before it's like the vulture, before we actually become edible. Is that correct?
Well, that's pretty close. What these things do, the schizophrenics call them the voices, okay? Psychiatry is going, there are no voices, these are hallucinations. So, that's bullcrap. That's total bullcrap. The schizophrenics have been trying to tell psychiatry forever that these things are very real. What they do is they're consistently negative, derogatory, insulting to the individual. They will jump on any negative situation and inflame it. And they're kind of like magnetism. You can't see the magnetic energy. You can see the effect, when you put.
I also want to say something about that. It's not that we cannot see it. It's that sometimes we don't know how to get impressions from the magnetic fluid. And when we really start developing our abilities, we can feel the fluid. We can even see the fluid. It's invisible, but when you're feeling it, it's going to create pictures and images so that you can understand them.
That magnetic field under iron filings or in a jar, you can see the effect that magnetic field has on those iron filings. These things are pretty much the same thing. You can see the effect they have on schizophrenics, and they don't just get schizophrenics, they get all of us to different degrees. You're walking around, all of a sudden this horrible negative thought comes into your mind to do something you would never do, and it's shocking, and you go, where did that come from? That doesn't belong to me, that's not mine, but it upsets you anyway. That's an example of being hit by these things. But schizophrenics get hit constantly, all the time. They run these patterns that I sent you, you know.
Now, this also happens, like he said, with anyone, right? So what happens when we have energy transference? When we have energy transference, whether it is in regular life, because you're already tapping into your empath abilities, or because you're unconscious that you have that already open up within you, you are going to be able to feel and sense what the other people around you are sensing and feeling and experiencing or thinking even, and it's going to affect you whether it is positive or negative. So that's why sometimes you're with a friend or with a client, you feel really, really drained because they're being affected to a point where the energy transference is also affecting you, and then you have to work on releasing those things. So energy transference is a very, very real thing, and when you are opening up your empath abilities, it can really become just overwhelming.
And we defined some 28 of them. If psychiatry would look at these patterns, they couldn't miss them. I mean, their hallucinations don't run patterns. So psychiatry, big pharma, are making a ton of money selling toxic drugs to drug the brain, which doesn't do anything except calm these guys down temporarily. As soon as those drugs wear off, the voices are right back again. Right.
Which is why we need to do the spirit releasement, because the medicine is going to help the body stabilize so that the person doesn't feel going crazy. But the moment that the medicine leaves the body, the voices are going to reappear because it's already in the subconscious of the person. They're already in contact. They're already tagged by these things. So we have to go and find out what happened, when did it happen, what was happening with the client. Also, we regress the entity, depending on the entity and what needs to be done. So a lot of things happen in a spirit releasement session to really help someone get rid of those voices.
Back there. Well, I'm glad you brought up that list. I'm going to go to the next slide because we'll get into that when we get into the self-defense aspect of it and what you came up with and your experience. This is basically the table of contents of the paper, the introduction, review of literature, discussion, and conclusion. And then the review of literature is broken into two parts. And we were just talking before I hit record on how part one talks about the macro view of how this predator drills into and operates within our environment. And missing 411 cases, time storm cases, that's something that goes across the planet. It doesn't matter where you're at, who you are, you can be affected by this. And then part two is where I go into the micro. I go down to the individual. How is the individual?
Let me see if I can move it along.
Talk to anybody. I couldn't talk to my wife because she'd get all freaked out. I usually dealing in those things. Nobody except the schizophrenics. They were the only ones who understood what I was talking about.
I know, like I was listening to an interview of you once, and I'm like, this guy got up every day.
Hold on. I have to find the other part that I want you to hear, or you can just simply go to Engineering Mental Sanity and get Jerry's book and read. I found him this morning around 6 in the morning, and I really wanted to share this with you all because I'm passionate about this topic. I believe that the more people that know about this, the easier it will be for people that are hearing these voices to express and connect and feel that they're not alone in this. I actually also want you to hear this interview. I haven't finished it all, by the way, but I did listen to like up to 10 or 15 minutes. I got too excited over Jerry here. When you find a new person that you really respect their work. But when I saw this title, I was like, oh, what is he talking about? Because also that I'm very passionate about plant medicine and the healing potential of psychedelics. So let's see what he has to say here.
Medicines since 2015, so I'm very accustomed to using these substances. I've been to South America a number of times at ayahuasca clinics. I started using free-base DMT quite often, I suppose, once a month. So I've got plenty of experience, working with good entities in these realms. Never had a negative journey or trip.
So Frank, what did you mean when you said I had experience working with the good entities in these rooms?
Sure. When you take these substances, you go to a place that's the opposite of this dimension, this realm here. We're kept in a state of fear, which I believe is by design, by the way. But we're kept in a state of fear, and when you go to these places, these other realms, it's the opposite. It's love. It's a dimension of love where unconditional love, beautiful energy. You come out of it, and it only lasts a short period of time. For those that don't know anything about DMT, it's only a short journey. DMT is naturally produced by our body. It's a natural hormone. It's a human transmitter.
Okay, so you visited these realms with DMT, and you had a long time of good experiences with that.
For sure. Every single time, and many people do. And I was, unaware of the negative side of it because it never happened to me. I was sort of was aware.
Well, also, a lot of people, including shamans, don't talk about the negative side of what can happen when we journey. And this is also something that I'm very passionate about because I have encountered tons of shamans, medicine people that will deny the existence of some of these energies. And you guys know I also talked about quantum healing and the fact that it's denied there too. So I don't know. I'm like this. We need to bring awareness. A lot of medicine people will tell you, if you ask them, there is no such thing as negative energies. But once you really dive deeper into the spirit realm, just like we have good things, we also have negative things that are lost and confused and detached from source.
To work, but didn't really in a way believe it because all the publicity, all the research that's done on it, it's like it's a good thing. They call it plant medicines, all these institutions and scientists doing.
You were talking about times where you saw people that they found it very dangerous.
Oh yeah, I've seen things like, an exorcist and, and the only thing missing is the head spinning around, it's really crazy stuff, which eventually happened to me. And it started a few years ago when to make the journey last longer, I took an inhibitor. It's an extract.
On top of DMT.
On top of DMT. And,
okay, so your experience with DMT for a good while was positive until this.
Oh yeah, all positive. It made me a better version of myself. It made me more compassionate. Really changed me forever, like it does a lot of people. But then when I did the inhibitor, which makes the journey last longer and takes you deeper, opens your consciousness up even more and takes you further away from this realm. I had a negative entity enter me, and at the time,
what did that feel like?
I'm gonna let you
so this was
listen to this.
Well, at the time when it first happened,
and the prison was getting more and more full of meth abusers, and most of them were hearing voices. And when I talked to them and said, "Well, how did this happen?" I mean, so some of them were using meth for a long time, and it felt good. They felt powerful. They'd stay awake. They were able to get stuff done. They felt like Superman, and they would start hearing voices, and then they go, "Oh, those are just hallucinations," and that might happen periodically. And they go, "Well, once I come down, they'll go away." And then one day, they didn't go away.
Okay, so if you are hearing voices, if you're having thoughts that are intrusive, if you have anyone that has those issues, you need to find people like Jerry. You need to find people like Mark. Oh my God, from the Past Awakening Institute, people like myself, people that do spirit releasement to assist. But if you are really, really in a pinch, I think Jerry, let me just go here. I think Jerry is he's a psychoanalyst, psychotherapist, so he was licensed. I'm not sure if he's still licensed, but you can, where is his website? You can go and get a consultation with him if you really need a medical provider that has a lot of experience with this, because there you go, online consultations. Get people, you need to get help, whether it is with a spirit releasement therapy like myself, like Mark from Past Life Awakening Institute, and some of his students, or people that have, those are in Spanish. If you need something in Spanish, let me know. Because either it could be done with me or some other people that I know in Mexico, Spain, Peru, Chile, Europe. So we have a network of different practitioners that can help you. If you need something more traditional, I also have a psychiatrist friend that specializes in spirit releasement and just found Jerry. So you can book an online consultation with him and see how he can help you. I'm gonna leave it here for now. I really hope you just get the help. We need to help people become aware that this is possible to heal, to feel better. Even if it's 57, 60, 70, 80%, some people get 100% relief or 90% relief. Everybody's gonna be different depending on the level of the damage. Because when let me stop sharing the screen. When we are experiencing those traumas and those voices are creating a lot of traumas in us, also the brain is being affected. So if the neurons have damage and they're not able to communicate with the different parts of the lobes, we may endure long-term damage, physical damage. But with therapy, we can heal some of that. So there is possibility to do 50, 60, 70, 80, 40, 100% healing of those neurons so that your brain can communicate and you can get back to normal and release those energies. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much.